The following conversation is with Dayton John. This is my first podcast, so if there is any mistake, just ignore it. I'll improve next time. This is the Vaibhav podcast. Hello, Dayton. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah. So in 2018, you mentioned you lost your best friend. So how did your best friend's death impacted your life, and what life lesson you learned from this particular incident?
Yeah, man. So in 2018, at the time, I was 24 years old, and my dear friend, he was 23, and we did a lot together. We moved out to California, did door-to-door sales 2 years prior to that, and that's where we really got close. Because out in California, they don't play. It's not safe out there, so we always had each other's back, and that's where the friendship grew, into a brotherhood. And yeah, man, he passed away in a car accident. Made some poor decisions. He was out drinking, and he was in a rental car that night, and just went down a dead end road, hit a electric box, and the whole thing blew up. And I found out the next day at my family's Christmas. And so that was tough. And my whole family had a relationship with him and knew him well and cared about him. So it hit us all pretty hard. And so and I'm still like living in 2018. Like it doesn't feel, like
Yeah.
6 years has gone by. But I've been handling it the best that I can, man. We always had big dreams together. We would go to the car dealerships, look at the cars we wanted to buy, and we just always uplifted each other, and that his energy, you couldn't find it anywhere else. It was just one of those guys who would take the shirt off his back for anybody. And yeah, after he died, man, it was like it's time to really get it and focus on, you know, like I got it from here. I'm going to continue what we had planned for our lives, and nothing's going to stop me. So a whole new type of motivation came from that. Uh, Being grateful for having known him and be a part of my life. So it was like I can either drown in my sorrow, I can start, popping more pills, but I chose to go the other route, and it took a while. I gave God a chance at that point in my life, and over time, just certain scenarios in life that you can't make up that shows you like God saying, hey, I'm here, I feel your pain, just keep going, keep walking the narrow path, and in the end it'll all work out. So ever since then, man, I've been on this journey, this walk with God, and I'm still dealing with it. I don't think I'll ever get over it. I think a lot of people can relate, to people who's lost loved ones. So like I look at the rest of my life, it's going to be in honor of him. You know what I mean? Part of it's going to be that way. Like he would always do things for people that I never understood. Like um, one day it was wintertime here in Wisconsin, and he saw someone was trying to back out of their driveway, and he stopped to help them pull out. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man? We got to be somewhere, because in my younger days I was selfish like that. So he was far ahead of the game, and I didn't know it at the time, but he just was a good person. He'd take the shirt off his back for you, and that's what he kind of passed on to me. So that's how I'm like carrying his legacy by helping people and keeping everything in perspective.
Yeah, man, I feel that, right? Losing a best friend, a person who has your back every time, you know, it's really tough. Yeah, and the place where I'm living right now, I don't really have a lot of friends, but I have this one guy, who's like brother to me. It's been 8 years we are since together, and every time when I run into a problem, he's there. He has my back. So when I learned that your best friend passed away, I also kind of imagined a scenario in my head,
Hmm.
thought, what if my best friend is gone?
Yep.
And it hit really hard. I was like, then I'm gonna be all alone. Then I'm gonna fight all my battles alone. You're 30 years old, I'm 20 years old, right? So literally I'm young right now, so
Hmm.
seeing the world alone, it sometimes it does scare, right? World is not a good place. It's really a scary place. And if you have someone to explore the world together, it's really great. It's an you know, what you can say, in today's world it's very rare to have a friend, like I have a friend who is a brother, who's a best friend, who has a back no matter what, where you're in problem or where you're in anything.
Yep.
So it's hard, man. Like, you lost your best friend, and then it's 6 years, and since you haven't, really get over it with. So, you know I think about it, man. Like, yeah, in your life you lost your best friend, so it would have been hard. And I thought, he died in your when you were in the lowest phase of your life, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was addicted to prescription medications at the time. I
yeah.
was still a functioning addict, right? I'm going to work. I'm still making money. I'm still keeping that a priority. But at the same time, I got a problem that I can't overcome at the time. It got out of hand. I was having panic attacks, things like that, losing weight, not looking the best, but still trying to keep it all together. And yeah, man, it happened at the one of the lowest points of my life. Yeah, so that was tough as well, having to deal through that addiction on top of losing him. And at the time, a month before he passed, I broke up with my girlfriend, who I thought I was gonna marry, and it didn't work out. So a lot of things happen at once, and then a month, like it was late October, one of my friends from high school, good guy, always had a good heart, came from a good family. He ends up going to jail or prison for first degree or second degree homicide. He got addicted to cocaine. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And yeah, man, so all of that was happening at once, and it was just really strange. And I give God all the glory in terms of getting me through those situations, because they were tough, man. They were tough.
Man, it could have been tough. How did you deal with all of this? Like, what did you kept telling yourself? Like, okay, Dayton, this is gonna be tough, but I'm gonna go through with this. I'm gonna have
Mhm.
God, and I'll deal with this. What did you keep saying to yourself at that moment?
Yeah, I said, like, the only way to get through this is to fully submit myself to God and turn from my wicked ways. You know, that was kind of it. And at the time, don't get me wrong, I was a good person. I had a good heart, but the drugs were turning me into someone I didn't want to become.
Uh, Drugs is really a shitty thing. I can vouch for that. You know.
Yep.
So this kinds of incident, and I believe many incident in your life happened, right? So what incidents in your life made you believe in God?
Yeah, man. So I mean, taking it all the way back, in third grade, I lost my great grandmother. I mean, she was older, but it was the first time I went to a funeral, saw a dead body, right? And that hits you, that sticks with you, especially as a young kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thinking at the time, wow, like, we don't live forever. What's the point of life? You know,
Yeah.
and death really, I really was able to take it in from every perspective at that age. Like, what's the point? Is there really a God? Questioning. I grew up in a Lutheran school. My parents sent me to a Lutheran school from kindergarten through seventh grade. So, I had that childlike belief in God at a young age, but there were certain things like her death that made me question things. I played basketball. My AU coach, he passed away when I was in seventh grade, and I was good friends with his son, and that also was tough. He was a good guy. When we go to these basketball tournaments, Chicago, Iowa, he would always take us out, pay for our food. You'd even take us to some jersey shops, buy us some, Chicago Bulls jerseys, doing things he didn't have to do. Just an overall good guy. And when he died, that was tough. Yeah, that was in 2008. And so, and another thing too is my parents got divorced when I was in third grade as well. So that was tough because I love both my parents. I have a good relationship with both of them to this day. But that was tough seeing them fight all the time, man. And I remember thinking back then in third grade, like, wow, when they die, they're not going to be buried next to each other. Thinking that stuff back then, and that was that. I started being depressed at a young age. And when I started playing basketball, that was like my domain, my getaway from all the BS going on in my life. And yeah, so I relied on basketball from third grade till the end of high school as an outlet, to get away from all the bad
Yeah.
things going on in my life.
So from the young age, you really were losing people.
Yeah,
That's tough. I can't even imagine in class third losing grandmother or getting your parents divorced. It's been tough. So damn, you really made a character tough, buddy.
yeah. I was introduced to death at a young age, for sure. Yeah, and that had an impact on me. And
So
other people, don't get me wrong, they have it worse. But going through those things really opened up my eyes. Like, hey, there's a lot
yeah,
more
but
to
yeah,
life. This life is serious, and don't take anything for granted.
life is all about that. Nothing is granted. You know, that's the one thing I have learned in this past few years. Like, yeah, nothing really is guaranteed. Not even you are guaranteed. Like,
I
you
know it.
came and after some time you're gonna die eventually. So nothing is guaranteed. That's one thing I've learned too.
Yep.
So so dealing with all of this, right? Class third, you losing your grandmother, your parents getting divorced, losing your coach. So what did you believe? What do you believe is the purpose of life, and how does that belief influence your daily actions?
Yeah, man. So, as a young kid, I was brought up as a Christian, and there's times where I felt really close to God, and then there's other times where I kind of went my own way, did my own thing. And, when you read the Bible, and I respect people's others' opinions and religions, for sure, but this is what worked for me, spending time in the Word, understanding that hey, there's more to life than just living and dying. There's something better than this after we leave this realm. And certain things just started happening in my life to affirm that, hey, this could be the truth. So that just, pushed me in the right direction to get my life on track and start making the right decisions for myself and start loving myself, because there's points where I didn't love myself, bro, you know? And yeah,
I think loving yourself is really important, and today's youth is really missing that point, right? They don't love themselves. They are looking for external validation from others
definitely.
instead of this is a really good quote by Marcus Aurelius, I guess. He said, if you look for an outside approval, remember that you have compromised your own integrity. you know and
Facts.
it was like, yeah, this code is very great. So always you have to remember that, yeah, you are your own warrior, you are your own judge. So you have to love yourself, push yourself, even through the hardest time or even through the best times. Nobody's coming to save you, right?
That's right.
So just go on. Don't be too hard on yourself, right? If you fail, you fail. Failure is a part of the process. So if you fail, you get back up. So being too much hard on yourself, getting addicted to things is not gonna work out. And I think you are the best example for it. You know it, right? So all of this happened, right? You're 30 years old now. All this incident happened when you were very young. So
Yeah.
if you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self about navigating life's uncertainties?
Yeah. I would tell my younger self to not steer away from God and to keep him number one. Sometimes we feel like in life that, hey, if something doesn't go our way, that we're going to take things into our own hands, and, we're going to get what we want and just kind of take it by force and have this chip on your shoulder. And I had that when things didn't go my way. I would say in my late teens, I didn't get the basketball scholarship I wanted. I feel like my talent, wasn't recognized, and I felt like I failed. And after that, I started to have a chip on my shoulder. I kind of fell away from God, saying, "What's the point of life? Like, nothing's going my way. So you know what? I had just kind of a mean chip on my shoulder, and I felt like it was life just throwing bad things at me constantly. You know what I mean? So I just kind of, yeah, went down a path of I'm going to do things my way, and
I
I
mean,
don't care what it
yeah,
takes to get what I want. And I wasted a lot of time being in that phase of my life. I would say 5, 6 years, instead of maintaining the narrow path and following God and keeping Him first. I went off on my own for a while, thinking I knew what was best for me.
yeah. I guess there is problem with some younger generation right now. I think in early teenage years, did you believe in God in your early teenage years?
Did I believe
Like,
in God, or
no,
or
no,
they don't?
I'm
They don't
asking.
believe in God.
Yeah, like when you were in your teenage years, like
Hmm.
there is always a constant doubt whether God is real or not. So, did you have that doubt when
I
you were
did.
young, in your younger 20s?
Yeah, I remember. This was like 2008. I was over at my uncle's house, and we were having a talk out by the campfire. Right, we had a fire going. We were eating s'mores, and the topic of religion got brought up. And my uncle said, yeah, what if you turn off like a computer, a broken computer, never turn on again? And that analogy stuck with me, and that's when I really started to question things. And that was when I was in seventh grade. So that's when I started to get that doubt.
I mean, yeah, like I too have doubts whether God is real or not. Like, I think God has given us this beautiful gift of consciousness to think about it, to question everything, right? And I
Yep,
believe the main purpose of religion is to be a better human being, right? But if you're not being that, then what's the point of this all religion thing?
exactly. No, I totally agree with you, man. Like, that's why I respect other people's beliefs in their religions, because in the end, they all kind of have the same idea. You want to become a better person, you want to expand your consciousness, be compassionate, show grace, find humility. And for the most part, I think religion it helps people.
Yeah, if you look to any religion, the main principle is to be a better human being, to find happiness and all. And but if you're not doing that, if you are following God and then you're hurting other people, then I don't think you're really connected with God then, because I've
Correct.
seen people who are worshiping God in every sense, just being 24/7, they're just worshiping God, but they're hurting other people, they are hurting other people through their beliefs, breaking
Yep.
other people's hearts. So I don't think that's a ideal way of to following a religion. So even if you don't follow a religion, be a better human, because that is the main thing. You're in a world, be a better human being. If you're not being that, then what's the purpose of
Yep.
being? Because even if I was a god and if I'm seeing you worshiping me and you're hurting other people, then I'm not really connected with you. Think about it.
Exactly. I totally agree 100%.
That's a simple thing. So you had your troubles early in your life, right? And you were addicted to some certain things. So how did you fought your weed and prescription pills addiction?
Yeah. So number one was understanding that I was disobeying God, one, by doing these things, putting bad things in my temple, taking my own life for granted. And I noticed, my health deteriorating. I was losing weight. I was having panic attacks. And I said, if I keep going down this road, I'm not going to be around here too much longer. I'm going to have a heart attack. Something's going to go wrong with one of my organs. My liver's going to get shot. And And if I don't get right now, I'm never going to get right. I'm just going to keep doing this. So it was just kind of reaching that point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
So then you decided like it's really time to shut this all off,
Yeah,
like because I'm not getting any benefits from it. I'm just taking weed and for some hours I'm feeling great, but when the high is off your brain, then you realize I'm back in my trouble again. It's not
that's right.
solving it. So to
Yep,
solve my problems, I have to get out of my bed, get out of this comfort zone and solve it. So yeah, it's hard. So, what would you advise the young kids, who are smoking pot for, handling their troubles?
Yeah, my advice would be, if you got big goals in your life, if you want to go somewhere, create a family, build a business, get that house you want or car you want. And it's not about materialistic things, but if you want to accomplish certain things, you got to give these things up. In my opinion, you got to develop discipline in life. And
Yeah.
when you can start understanding that, hey, none of this stuff is easy to obtain, everyone's, kind of competing against each other in a way. It's a tough world out there. Nothing's given to you. If you want the advantage and you want to play the long game in terms of your health, your finances, understanding finances, you got to quit the drugs. It,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my opinion. It's easier said than done, but I learned from trial and error that I operate best when caffeine is my only crutch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I would say that I am addicted to that too. I can't start my day
yeah,
without caffeine, but it's good. Caffeine is good, but you
yeah,
know, uh, although when I see the people getting into drugs, smoking cigarettes, pot, uh, what they're getting is just instant gratifications,
you
and
got it.
that is just frying up your brains. The That's a fake dopamine release. You're not doing any work and you're not getting any natural dopamine hits. You're getting fake dopamine hits, and that is frying your brain.
Yep,
So that it doesn't make sense, but still people doesn't have patience to go out and solve their problem, so they do the easiest way: take
right.
the pot, take the smoke, do
And
the
it's so
drink.
easy to
And
get access to these things, that
the
anyone can do it.
yeah, the
It's
world is evil. The world is evil. You can't get access to good things, but you can get access to bad things, certainly.
Yeah, isn't it nuts? Yep, everything out there
it's
that's
it's it's
not
it's
good
very
for you
nuts,
is easy
brother.
to
It's
obtain.
you know in the colleges of a place right here, every student knows where to get the weed, but the police doesn't know but the cops doesn't know where to get where the weed is being sold.
Yep,
So that is really fucked up, and you got to think about it. So I think system is there to really fry up your brain, and they want you to do that, because if everybody is out of their comfort zone and fighting their problems, then the
yep,
world is okay. And
yep.
if the world
That's
is
right.
okay, yeah, when the world
It
is okay, then everything is good. Then there is a problem then.
it's a
So
trap. It's a
yeah,
trap.
yeah. So so when you moved to California, your first job was sales, right?
Yep.
So what lesson did you learn from your first sales job, and what would you have wished you knew during your first job?
Yeah, man. So when we went out to California, uh, we were
By the
young
way,
at the time.
I really want to move to California. It's a beautiful city, I
It's beautiful,
think.
man. It's a whole
Yeah,
different world out there. The air smells different.
yeah.
Everyone drives like a maniac.
uh,
Um,
it's the same in every corner of the world, I feel.
yeah. So, anyways, yeah. What I learned from sales. Um, so my first job was actually a lot attendant at a car dealership, and then I got into sales. Um, but yeah, man, what I learned from sales is everyone seems to buy from someone that they like and trust. You may not
Yeah,
know, you may not even know every answer to their question that they throw at you, but if you're honest with them and you don't come across like you need their sale, you're going to come across as an authentic, and they're going to start to like you and buy from you just because they like you, and they don't see that you have ulterior motives. You know what I'm saying? They see that you're not needy. And so
yeah,
you're just selling yourself really instead of whatever product you're trying to sell. And I look back and I went out there with James, right? My friend who passed away, and before we would go out and knock doors, we would pitch each other, practice. I mean, we were really taking it serious and had a passion for it, and unfortunately the company was not in a good financial position to pay us what they said they were going to pay us. They were paying for our housing and everything. So when they started not to pay us, we said, okay, we gave it a try. We took a risk. Let's head back home. But one thing I
uh,
learned is in order to sell, just be authentic and sell yourself, and good things will come. And it's a numbers game. You're not going to sell everyone that you encounter with, have an encounter with.
yeah, you really need to understand the people, understand the psychology. I feel in the sales is the best skill I think you can ever acquire if you do it correctly.
Yep.
And sales with psychology is the best leverage you can get. you know
Yep. You got to
and
learn how to read the room.
yeah, and with the person even, what's his body language, what mood he's into, so how you gotta pitch, how you gotta say things to him that make him feel nice, make him so he can
Yep.
trust you. So whether or not your first job, whether you made succeeded or not, but you did learn a lot of things, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that was a part of the process. Whether you failed or not, you did learn something from there, because going out, talking to the people, pitching, sales, it's just a big thing. You learn some skills which can't be taught sitting in the room, right?
Yep. And it's a good way, in order to grow, you got to feel uncomfortable. And sales is one of those fields where once you start it, and if you're new to it, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to
Yeah,
not know what the heck you're doing. And but
yeah.
that's good. That's how you grow. I remember when I started selling campers in my early 20s. I remember my first day, some folks walked in and my manager was like, go sell them, and I didn't know what I was doing. So jumping in without a life jacket and whatever you're trying to start in life, that's how you learn.
So did you take help from any books, or some YouTube videos to how to do sales or something, or you just went raw and just
Yeah, I just
try?
went. I wasn't reading books or even looking up YouTube videos back then. um, Yeah, I really started getting big into YouTube, I would say, in 2019. So this was way before then. And that's one thing I would
Yeah.
tell myself if I could go back to utilize YouTube more, before I started that sales gig, because I think it just would have set me up better.
Yeah, there are many things out there from where you can learn a lot of things. Damn, so getting out there knowing nothing, it would have been tough. I can say
Yeah.
that. You really pulled it off then, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So, till your life experience, okay, you may have seen a lot of people, rich people and poor people. So, what do you feel? What's the major difference between a rich mindset and poor mindset?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. One thing I've noticed, a lot of people who have a poor mindset, they don't really want more for themselves. They don't have any goals. And a lot of the world says, "Oh, money's bad, materialism, it's bad."
Yeah.
Well, I
You know
get
why they say
that.
that? You know why they say that? Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants a comfort life. Money can't solve all of your problems, but money can solve all of your money problems. People know
Yep.
it, people want to do it, but deep down they realize they can't do it. So they play in another game. It's called a status game. Then they attack the people who are playing the wealth creation game and say money is evil, you shouldn't do it. Yeah, it's a very good thing. It's what is in the book of the almanac of Naval Ravikant. I think you know
Hmm.
him. So I read it from there. It was like, it's true.
Yeah.
People will attack you if you play the wealth creation game, and they will say money is evil, you shouldn't do it. It's better to live paycheck to paycheck, get a little amount of money, be happy. It's total BS.
Yeah. Yeah. You're selling yourself short. And
Yeah.
another thing I notice is a lot of these people who have the poor mindset, they're lazy. They don't show up every day. I remember back when I had two jobs. I was working like 65 hours a week, a night shift at a hotel, 4 hours at an insurance job. Yeah, I didn't like my circumstances, but I knew I had to make some sacrifices. Not many of these people are willing to do that, and they play the victim card, and they want people to feel sorry for them. And unfortunately, that's not the route you want to take. You have to do things you don't want to do. Not every day is going to be fun. You're not going to have your dream job starting out coming out of college. It takes time, and not everything's given.
Yeah, you could argue that in today's world everything is being so much, provided, and it's so much comfortable. You can sit anywhere and be behind your 6-inch screen and get your dopamine release, so you're just being comfortable, so you think you don't need to do anything. You're getting the free internet, very, very cheap internet,
Yep.
right? You have Instagram, which is free. You're
Right.
addicted to that. And
Yep.
the
It's
people
like a
who are
slot
behind,
machine, right? It's like a
yeah,
slot machine.
the people who are behind Instagram, they have designed you to stick there. Their competition is not some other company. Their competition is your sleep, your ambitions, your goals, and you're sacrificing that, and you're using your time there, and they're making money off it,
Yep.
and they don't realize it. And I think the world today is becoming so soft. I think back then in the 90s, the world was tough.
I
You
was
know,
just thinking that right before you said that. I remember the 90s. 97 was the first year I remember pretty vividly. And yeah, man, go ahead. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's funny you
no, no,
mentioned
no.
the
Keep
90s.
continue. I really want to hear about it,
Yeah,
about
just,
the 90s.
as a kid, growing up watching all these cartoons, Spider Man's on Saturday, and then WWF SmackDown Thursday night. And just the times everyone interacted differently. You were able to, walk alone as a little kid outside, ride your bike.
Yeah,
Times were good back then. We had it really good. And in my opinion, the 90s were the golden era. Now it's not as good. And these young guys coming up, they don't know what it was like back then, so they don't have a reference point. So,
even
and
I
that's why
remember.
I feel like a lot of the world's just kind of deteriorating. It's saturated. It's just not as original, man.
Yeah, everybody's too stuck in their homes, sitting
Yeah.
behind TVs, iPads, doing stuff. I remember when I was a kid, you know, I'm still 20 years old, but when I was a kid, I was living in a small town,
Yeah.
I used to go out, whole day I used to stay in the field, play all the kind of games with my friends, do every kind of stuff you can imagine with a friend. So it was very good thing. And I see younger people today who are like 14, 15 years old. They are just, sitting behind iPad and just scrolling the TikToks and the YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
What kind of thing has happened to the world?
Yeah.
I really had so many friends. I used to, do every kind of stuff, take the stones, smash someone's home's window, cars, and do all kind of stuff, play, get dirty,
Yep.
dance in the rain, talk to anyone, all the, it was really fun. But
Yeah.
today, you don't see first of all so much of, first of all, playgrounds are becoming so less, the buildings are there, playground is very less. You really have no kids.
Yep.
uh, the parents don't want their kids to go out and play with people who are not at that level. I used to play with every kind of people, but right now you can say some kinds of status game is being playing.
I
This kid
agree.
comes from a rich family, so he can't play with this. So this is a really bad thing they shouldn't do with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when the world hit with the lockdown stuff, the COVID stuff, I think that was a point when world really fell apart.
Yep. I totally agree, man. It's
Before
unfortunate.
that, yeah, before that, everybody was going out. And right now, everybody's
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking.
You can tell it's had a psychological effect on people. It's changed a
Yeah,
lot of people.
the kids who grew up in lockdown, they think the world was like this only.
Yep.
You know, so I don't think smartphone had have helped the people. I think it's just taking to the destruction only.
You're right. Yeah, smartphones, that was kind of the start of it, right? Social media back in like 2010, 2011, that's when all these smartphones came out. Everyone had them, all these apps, and yeah, it's done more bad than good. I mean, right, we know there's
Yeah,
pros and cons. There's good things like us today, on this
yeah,
podcast, we're
yeah.
just talking about life lessons and everything like that people can learn from. But then you got
Obviously,
people on these gambling apps and these gaming apps where they're giving the game their money, they're addicted, and
yeah.
they're
And
not
you
it's
see,
not getting them anywhere.
yeah, and these gambling apps are being promoted by the people who are the influencers, doing all kind of bad stuff. People idealize them,
Yep.
and they promote this gambling app. People are really falling into it. In India only. Last week, I heard a case where a teenage was going to a good college. He had cracked an exam. Like there is SATs, here is a J mains exam. He cracked it,
Yep.
but You can almost say he lost over 40 to $50,000 in gambling. He was in
Yep.
debt. His mother is not talking to him. His brother is not talking to him. The man, he was giving an interview to the journalist, and he was crying all the time. He was saying that nobody talks to me. I'm so alone. My brother doesn't talk to me. My mom doesn't talk to me. What I have done. And you got to realize that, yeah, this stuff is really bad. And if you take a sit back and if you watch, then you can see that everybody is promoting this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Even the good celebrities, the good sports person are celebrating, promoting this kind
Exactly.
of stuff. People just ignore it, but this is really evil, I think. The internet has really taken the world down. There are
Yep.
pros and there are cons, definitely. But like always said, in this era the cons are more big. You really see very less people who are taking the benefit of the internet like us, but there are people who are just misusing the internet.
I agree. 100%.
Vulgarity is on the highest at this moment right now. So
Yep.
the youth is getting destroyed only, right? They're learning
It is.
nothing. They're learning nothing. you know
100%. Yep. The youth is
you see
getting
good.
destroyed and they're becoming addicted to things they shouldn't be at a young age. And unfortunately, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, this is gonna get worse only. Yeah, that is, I can vouch for. So what is your favorite era? 90s or this?
Gosh, I mean, definitely, I remember, the late 90s, early 2000s, they were good too. Um, yeah, I would say the early 2000s. The late 90s, heading into the early 2000s. It was a good time to be alive, man.
Yeah, uh, I was born in 2004, so I can't vouch for that. But
Yeah.
in 2011 and 12, I did remember some stuff. So it was great. Yeah. So growing up, you obviously did a lot of financial mistakes, right?
Hmm.
So what was your biggest financial mistake, and how did it shape your approach to managing money today?
Yeah, so, I mean, luckily I never ran into a situation that I lose sleep over. You know what I mean? I've been, for the most part, pretty decent with my money. I would say back when I got my second sales job selling campers, when I made my first $10,000, I went out and I bought a new BMW. Looking back, I could have used that money, invested in the stock or crypto market, dividend stock, where I could get that 10,000 could keep making me money. You know,
Yeah.
but other than that, man, I really, I mean, I would say that's it. I mean, I've lost a few $1,000s in crypto, but I made it back in other crypto coins I invested in. So yeah, I would say I would have, as a young guy, 21 years old, I would have taken that $10,000 and invested it. Maybe even put it down as a down payment on a home, instead of
Yeah.
going out and buying a car. But hey, I'm a car guy, and another thing too, I think it's important that as men or even women to invest in yourself at sometimes.
Yeah.
It's okay to treat yourself, bro. Like, we
Yeah.
can't take this money with us when we die,
Yeah. I
but
feel
don't be a fool.
investing. Yeah, I feel investing in yourself is the best investment you can do. You know, people don't think about it. People think education is a scam. You shouldn't
Hmm.
be getting education. That's a bullshit thing to say.
Agreed.
Obviously, the school education system is not good as it's not good as you think.
Hmm.
But obviously, there's a difference between education and you know getting your critical thinking high. Learning stuff. Education systems does stop after some time, but your learning never stops in your lifetime.
Right.
You have to know when you have to learn stuff. You have to learn stuff by yourself. This, you can't be just reliable on colleges and school that they're going to teach you stuff which is going to help you on your day to day basis. But no, that's not going to happen. You have to step up. You have to learn from yourself. You have to self educate yourself. All the billionaires you see, all the rich person you see, and that's the one best thing about the rich mindset I have seen, that they never stop learning. They learn stuff from themselves. They read books, they read magazines, they do courses,
Yep.
and yeah, and they do it and they invest them on themselves. On the other hand, the poor mindset, what they do is that they buy stuff. Start
True.
saying buy iPhones, buy this, go on the vacation on the name of saying, oh, we are on our youth, we have to enjoy our time because money will come but time will not. This
Yep.
is the foolish statement that I've ever heard, that time will never come but money will. So,
Mhm.
but you have to realize that for that you have to make money, you have to do something, or you have to have a skill which can help you to make money.
Yep.
So without backing up, rich kids telling that, oh, just go out, enjoy the world. It's easy for you to say, but it's not easy for the rest of the people to say, who are broke, fighting on their way up. So
Exactly.
that's
Yep.
a biggest difference between a rich mindset and a poor mindset, that I have feel that, yeah, rich mindset just think that they have made some money, they can live and it's okay, I don't need to grow. I'll go home, I'll watch TV, I'll get some entertainment, and I'll be in my comfort zone. But on those rich mindset people, they get out of their comfort zone every day. They learn new things, they try new
Yep.
things, they fail, then they stand up back, then they fight more, and they make more businesses, they make more money. So people
Exactly.
then say, it's easy for them because they are rich. Obviously it's easy for them because they are rich, but at the start it was not easy. They were staying up late, early
Yep.
mornings, late night. People don't see that stuff, people just see the end of the result, that, yeah, this guy is rich now. But you don't see the process. For like past 10 years this guy was struggling so much to make money, and when he made money, you're saying that, oh, this guy got lucky, he made money. This is the,
Yeah, they
I
don't
think,
see where it
yeah,
began, where it started for all these guys who have, created wealth for themselves, all the sacrifices they had to make, the risks that it
yeah,
took. I feel like uh, to have financial success, it means everyone has their own definition of what success means. But I think you have to learn how to, number one, you have to learn how to make money,
yeah,
have a budget, and save money. And then you have to learn how to invest and make that money work for you. And you got to
yeah.
learn how to spend money too. Treat yourself human.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously that's a thing. But you have to realize that, instead of making money you have to become wealthy. you know
Mm-hmm.
Money is just a tool to, track credits and debits for society, but wealth is something that works for you. Even as you said, like when you're sleeping, money works for you, you make
Yep.
wealth. So that's the biggest important thing. Like you can't rent your time and become rich. Like if you're being paid $500 per hour, you are just working 8 hours a day, you're making $4,000. But you can't become millionaire like that or billionaire like that. You have to earn $500 every hour of the day. So that's part of being a wealthy person.
Yep.
So for that, you really have to, get into a different mindset. People don't want to do that. They just want to stay on the comfort zone. It's like, yeah, I have a beer, I have the TV, let's enjoy. Why the
Right.
hell would I want money, right?
and
So,
and it's hard too to find like-minded people who want to grow like you do, who want to understand
yeah,
finances, how to generate income, and you can do it. The thing is you can do it a lot faster with a group of people, but
yeah,
in order to it's rare to find people who are like that, who are all willing to be on the same page and really say, okay, we're going to make it happen. We got no other option but to succeed. It's tough
yeah,
to find, man. That's one thing I wish that
yeah.
I
That's the
had more in
toughest
life.
part. Yeah,
Yep.
that's the toughest part. I feel getting the same like-minded people like you. Yeah,
Yep.
I agree on that. So, how do you define happiness, and what steps do you take to achieve it?
Yeah, man. That's a good question. Happiness, it comes and goes. I believe more in joy, right? We experience uh, spurts of joy in our life. Good moments happen, but we know on the other end, there's bad moments that are going to happen in our life. It's inevitable. So I like to stay somewhere in the middle. You know,
Yeah,
just because I feel like life just goes a lot better when you kind of approach it that way. Um, yeah,
in
man.
the practical way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
things
that can.
happen. That's life. Um, but yeah, man.
Yeah,
To be honest with you, like it took me a while to get to this point after my friend passed, but I would have to say overall, I'm a happy dude. I'm grateful just to wake up each and every day.
yeah,
Have arms, legs, eyes. I mean, I'm kind of to that point. And when you get to that point in your life, everything else becomes gravy. and then you don't feel like you need anything to fulfill you. Like I don't really feel that way anymore. Like sure, I may want to
Yeah,
buy the Lamborghini one day, but I don't
yeah.
need it at the end of the day. And if I get it, great. If I don't, the old me
Like,
wouldn't
yeah,
have said that.
appreciating little things in your everyday life is gonna
Yep, and it
make you happy. That's,
compounds. Yeah,
yeah,
when you
and it
approach it
compounds.
that
Yeah,
way,
really.
yeah, things start to move for you. It's like the universe moves with you now, and you,
Yeah,
yeah, it takes you farther having that perspective. Definitely.
yeah. On this thought that how do you define happiness? When I'm in day or night, there are different thinkings. Sometimes there was a cartoon, an anime series, you can say, or a cartoon. I don't know what.
Yeah,
Rick and Morty.
yeah,
In one of the episodes,
that's a funny show.
someone was telling Morty in a restaurant that happiness is a scam, or you can say it doesn't exist. The smarter you get, the more you realize that happiness doesn't last longer. you
Yeah,
know it is just a small duration for your part. If when you find the love of your life, you think you're happy, but when she goes, then you feel like, I'm back in
right.
that shithole again. I'm not happy, I'm sad. So I think, yeah. And more of the thing, I think you have you can choose whether to be happy or sad.
You're right.
I
It's a
think that,
choice.
yeah, it's really a choice. And I think that we should do that. We should choose to be happy because life is very short. You know,
Hmm.
why you would want to waste your life in sadness, whether when you can spend your life in happiness. I feel that
Right.
way. So it's better to go out and feel happiness. I see these young kids, I myself am a young kid, but you also see the people around there, they are very depressed with their lives. On the very small things are depressed, but and actually what's happening then, they are wasting their time, wasting their life. They can go out and solve that problem and be happy instead of
Right.
doing that, just being depressed, ranting about it.
Yeah, they're
That's not going to
pushing
help.
without knowing it. They're pushing all the good things life has
Yeah,
planned from them away just because of the mindset. It's
yeah. I shifted my mindset. I used to be sad. Yeah, sometimes you
mm,
get when you're lonely, but I shifted my mindset and I thought, okay, if I'm going through this, this period, this sadness or challenge, when I go through it, my character will become more strong, more resilient.
yep.
So that's what I thought when you lost your best friend, when your toughest phase, then you went out and 6 years you worked. And I think that, yeah, you did become stronger. So next time, if that, I don't want it to happen in your life, but if something happens in your
Right.
life like that, you're really ready to take it. You can
Exactly.
handle it.
Yep.
So I think, so I shifted my mindset like, okay, if this is happening, I'll handle it. I learn from it. Because if in the future, if these things happen to me, I'm going to be aware. I'm going to be like, okay, I know how to deal with it. I'm going to deal
Hmm.
with it. Simple as that. So that is the biggest shift I've taken in my mindset. Like,
Yep.
yeah. Okay. So how do your beliefs shape the way you interact with others?
Yeah, man. So when I interact with others, I try to approach my interactions, with grace and compassion and love for that person, no matter who I'm dealing with, because I don't know what's going on in their life. And you just want to leave an impact on people. You want people to remember that, to just remember their good interaction with you, and you should want to treat others how you want to be treated. And at the end of the day, I mean, if you can treat others like that, you're going to be much happier with yourself.
But what if the other person is treating you like shit? Then what do you do?
Yeah, man. So natural instinct is you're going to want to be bad back,
Yeah,
but as in the Bible, it says when you turn the other cheek and take the high road, that's probably the best decision you can make. Because why lower yourself, your value, and stoop
yeah,
to their level
yeah,
when you know they're wrong, they're out of pocket, they're maybe even a clown. You take them as a joke, but you don't say
yeah.
it to their face. You just leave the situation, let God handle the rest.
Yeah, I feel like confronting the stupid people or the people who have just are being mean to you for no reason. It's better to move on, just say, yeah, whether you're right. We have seen this code everywhere on the internet, right? That the
Yep.
best way to peace is to agree with the stupid. Just agree with them and just move on,
Yep.
right? And so I think, and in today's world, most people are mean only. I think it's rare that you find good people who interact with you
I,
nicely.
I agree. Yep.
the life is bad for everyone. So they are bad and they treat other people with bad intentions. If you see outside, you see the beggars or you see the homeless people, nobody treats them right, and that's a sad thing to see, to be honest. But
Hmm.
when as a kid we see beggars or homeless people, there we feel bad for them. But as
Yep.
you grow older, you become like that person only.
Hmm.
I've seen many people do that, so that's a bad thing, to be honest. I really don't feel good, you know.
I
And I
agree.
think people should take a different approach towards it.
Yep.
you know. So yeah, on that question, you say, how do you deal if you're surrounded with negative people and you don't have any options to change your surrounding for now? Then how to deal with it?
Yeah, man. So I feel like it's important to have boundaries, right, with any relationship or friendship. And if you have negative people around you, if you can't stand to be around them, don't be around them. I mean, it's okay to say no. It's okay to value
But
your time and
yeah,
your
but
energy.
suppose you don't have any options to go out. Suppose you're in a job, right? You are
Mm-hmm.
in working in a restaurant or anywhere.
Yeah.
The people around there don't like you. You don't like them. But you
Mm-hmm.
need that job. You need to be there to make money. So what do you
Mm-hmm.
do? How do you deal with them?
Yeah. If I was in that situation, I mean, and I had to stay at that job, I had to deal with these people. I would just sit them down and just try and get to know them. If I knew I had to stay here and deal with this every day, but if I personally would take action and go elsewhere, right? Put myself out of that situation.
But you don't have an option. I'm telling
Okay,
you
so
that.
if I don't have that option, then the chip on my shoulder comes into play, and I say, okay, I'm going to outwork each and every one of these people and kind of put them in their place that way instead of screaming and yelling in their face. That's
And I
how I would
think,
approach it.
yeah, and then they will hate you more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most important thing, and everybody want to know the solution of it because everyone is surrounded at some point of life, or most of the people are surrounded with the people they don't want to deal with, and they can't leave that place for some time. So dealing with them at that point is to be alone, be
Hmm.
isolated, and you know there is a very beautiful poem by Charles Diowski. I am sorry if I'm not able to pronounce his name right.
Yeah,
He said, Isolation is a gift."
it is.
I feel
Yeah.
that is a great thing. So in my workplace too, in my life many times I have been around the people that they don't like me. But I'm doing good for them.
Hmm.
Doing my best to please them, to make them happy, to
Yeah.
not make them uncomfortable. But in return, they are not being happy with me. They have problem with every small things.
Yeah.
So what do? You just ignore them at that point, and some point that does take your mental health down, your mental energy down.
Yeah.
So it is hard for to deal with that at that point. So best is being isolated for
Yeah.
the
And
amount
I
of
feel like
time.
if you can spend time in isolation and enjoy your time alone with God, evaluating your life, your goals, taking yourself serious, that's when real growth is going to happen, man. Because, like, what's Michael Jordan's old quote? Respect is earned when no one is looking. I mean, I'm not out to
Yeah,
seek people's
yeah,
respect. Of course, I want to treat them well, but at the end of the day, everyone's worried about their own lives. You know what I mean? They're focused on themselves. They really don't care what you're doing.
yeah, definitely.
So it's like if you can spend time alone, that's when you're going to really grow. And it doesn't have to be for the rest of your life, just a season, whether it's 3 months or 3 years. But I've come to find out that since my friend died, I've been in a period of isolation for 6 years. Yeah, I have my fun time, but I'm taking my path serious. I don't have any room for error at this point in my life.
Yeah,
So, yeah, being alone, spending time with God, that's where real progress is made.
I mean, yeah, like because you are alone, you you deal less bullshit, and you don't have any other option to do stuff. You don't have anyone to enjoy with, so you just focus on the character development, self improvement part, and then you go
Hmm.
out and work really hard to achieve your dreams. That's good. Do you
Yep.
believe in the concept that respect is not given, it's earned. And if the other person is respecting you, then only you should respect them.
Kind of, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, you do have to earn respect. I feel like I realize that when I go to my sales job on the weekends, I can tell I have respect from all the sales associates, but it took some time to get to that point. It took some performance, some just talking with him, being there, being a friend, or you know what I mean. Like it took time
yeah,
to develop that. It wasn't given to me, and you got to maintain that. So, and if someone doesn't respect me, I'm just not going to deal with that person whatsoever. You know what I mean? I'm just not
but
going to deal with them. Like you said, if you can avoid the situation, avoid it. They're not worth your time or energy,
that's what I
unfortunately.
feel too. That's what I feel too. If you see any people out there who are not respecting you, I think the best is to get out. Don't care about it. People think you are making them your enemy. No, you're not making them your enemy. An
Hmm.
enemy is the best thing that can happen to you in your life. Very rarely people get good enemies. Enemy
Right.
is an important part. People can judge your character and who you are by judging your enemy on the basis of your enemy. So I made this concept that no, they're not my enemy. I just don't care about them whether they live or they die. I just don't care about them. I have done this a lot in my life. I see people who I don't like. Dude, you're not my enemy. I just don't care about you.
Yep.
You don't exist for me, and that's the best thing that I can say for the people you don't want to deal with. Just go and just don't care about it. Live
Yeah,
a life.
it's only going to bring you down. Only going to bring your mood down at the end of the
Yeah,
day. And
you will fall into the level up there. If you wanna engage in some fights or engage in the cold war situation type, you're just gonna be on down on their level. Have the
exactly.
self-respect. Yeah, have the self-respect.
Yep.
Stay up, keep your head high and just do your work. That's the best thing you can do. And
Exactly, man.
yeah, and one of the best thing is that nobody is watching you harder than your hater. I feel that.
Yep.
And you would never meet any hater in your life who is doing better than you. When I
Right.
started this channel, this podcast, I had the idea. I really I met some people who told me this is a great idea. Mostly were criticizing it. They don't
Hmm.
realize what's my intention behind it.
Right.
But the most thing that I got heard was that the person I expected who should have understand, he didn't understand. He or she didn't understand it, and they criticize more. When you're criticized or when you're hated by your loved ones, that's a very sad part. So yeah,
Yeah, man. I mean, advice to you: you're a young guy. You're well ahead than most people your age. Just keep going.
thanks.
Yeah, man. Just keep it up. I've listened to your content, and you're farther ahead than most people your age. So just keep it up, and
I do feel
whatever
that
negative comments
sometimes.
come, just block it out, dude.
No, I love it. I love it.
And you can learn from it too. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm a diehard David Goggins fan, and when I was in the team, I used to play basketball too.
yeah,
So I had haters, but the best thing is when you are playing on the other's home ground and the crowd is like there, hating on you. You secretly love that, right? You love that thing. You want that thing to
yeah.
happen, that the people are hating on you. So
You
you give
feed
your
off that
best game.
energy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I feel that hate is the biggest motivation than love. I feel that
yeah,
thing. When you're hated, then you are more locked in. You're gonna do the work more better than whether you're loved or not. When you're loved, slightly you're gonna be distracted from your work. But when you're hated, you're really locked in. And I
yep,
want hate. You know, what I did, I had some comments or I had some tags from, some of the old friends or the friends of friends. I made a voice recording of that comments, and I used to hear it every day
yep,
when I wake up, when I'm in the practice. I used to hear it. People thinking I'm crazy. And where did I get this idea from? David Goggins told me that when when he had the comments of the hater, he used to wake up when he goes to run. He used to record the comments in his own voice recording, and he used to hear that. I thought that is sick, but when I tried that, I felt that is really a motivating factor.
Yeah.
No motivational video is gonna motivate you other than the haters comments. I love hate, people think hate is bad. I'm like, no, hate is not bad. Hate is the best thing that can happen to you.
Yeah, I would
People,
agree. Use it as a weapon.
yeah, people really get sad when they get hate. I don't get sad, I get happy. Like, yeah, come on, hate me more, hate me more, hate me more. I'm gonna do the work. I'm gonna work my ass off
Yep.
and not prove you wrong, but I'm gonna make myself better.
Yep.
That's the thing.
Yeah, man. Maintain that because if you can lock in like that and don't change, you're gonna do well for yourself, bro.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's easy, but life is like that. You have to move on.
Yep.
So, yeah, in one of your videos you told that men are dealing with feminism or pseudo feminism.
Hmm.
But I think not only in the west, but I think men all over the world are dealing with this shit. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, man. I just feel like, or I know that, you know, we talked about social media earlier on, and that has
Yeah,
not helped women, I don't think, at all, for the most part. It's affected a majority of the women's population in the wrong way.
yeah, I would
Their
agree on that.
standards have gone through the roof, and not with everyone. I mean, there's bad apples with men too, right? I mean, not every. So I'm not hating on women. It's just you kind of see it for what it is, and it's how can you dodge situations with women where you're wasting your time. You want to save your time as a man,
Yeah,
and I feel like as a man you got to take your time with this. You can't really force things, because then you're just wasting your time, and in some situations you're setting yourself up uh, to be heartbroken. And I feel like every man should have their heart broken in their life at one point in time to learn from it. I have, but it's not like I have this negative mindset towards women that, oh, I'm never going to find the right one or anything. You don't want to have that mindset. But I just think that men should, right now more than ever, they have to be pouring into themselves
yeah,
and focus on their careers, their goals before they can bring a woman into their life. And a lot of men aren't at that point. They're dating when they shouldn't be dating.
yeah,
You know, I to be honest, I have the time, I have the resources to date, but I'm just not there yet. I still want to keep going. I still want certain things in my life. And I do believe God will bring someone in my life. It's just now's not the right time. I know I gotta be grinding. I gotta be working. That's where I'm most happy at anyways. So if God wants to bring a woman in my life, great. If not, I'm cool with that. I've already made peace with that years ago. And I would
yeah,
say that's another thing that's brought so many good things into my life.
yeah. And thing is that feminism did had some good effects, but this pseudo feminism concept is really destroying the women's. You see the OnlyFans concept, you see the
Yeah,
Fransley. This is destroying the women, and I think men are more to blame than women because they are the ones who are paying for it, right?
exactly. Yeah, you're 100% correct. It's our fault we've gotten to this point as a society.
Yeah, and I think the it was in some of the books which I read that if you want to make some generation weaker, make the nudity very common. And it's
Yep.
true, you can. I mean, I really don't want to talk about it, but you can really see anyone on the internet nowadays, anyone. And people are idealizing these kinds of concept, not people, I mean the young girls or the kids are really
Yep.
idealizing these kinds of concept. You should not be taking motivation or idolizing people like Kim Kardashian. You should be idolizing the women's like Marie Curie. This kind of women, the Kalpana Chawla, Sunita Williams, these kinds of women. So women are doing good in a different aspect of fields. Women are doing really good for the society, not destroying a society.
Right.
And and at this point, I feel feminism is not feminism; it's men versus women.
Yeah.
And this is having a really bad side effect. Men are choosing to be single nowadays. They are avoiding women at all cost, I see.
Yeah. They're saying, what's the point of risking my time and energy, taking on all of these responsibilities on top of it?
Yeah,
And it's not guaranteed. I've known people who've been married for 20 years and then they get a divorce. My own parents got a divorce. I saw what it did to my dad. That doesn't mean I'm going to give up on love and I'm a hopeless romantic. No,
Yeah, I mean,
it's just 51% of marriages end in a divorce. So you got to play your cards right, and I believe there's someone out there for everyone. It's just they have to
there is,
approach it right, and they have to have the right mindset when it comes to relationships. You can't force them; it'll come naturally.
yeah, and I feel in the internet you will just see the hates, hate against a woman, hate against a man. But when you go out and if you interact with really good people, good women or the good man, you realize not everyone is bad. They have
Yep,
made, you know just because of one person or just because of one woman, one man, they have made the whole community look bad.
right.
And I feel that's a wrong part. It's not men versus women, it's men and women together, right? But I don't think. I think who is getting benefit from this? This
Yeah, no
the
one is.
fights.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
just
they got to play a game. It's all most of these relationships have become so egotistical, right, on both
yeah.
sides. And it's not about coming together and building anything anymore. It's more of
No,
kind
you
of
know,
what I can get over on my partner, and it's like you're missing the whole point of a relationship, marriage. It's to build
yeah.
together.
People don't realize it. That even if as a man, you would agree that women are the best thing that can happen to a man. Women
Yep,
are really good. They are so nurturing and loving. I can't be. I would have not been here, sitting if my mother would have not
yep,
sacrificed some things. I would not have been so much good if my mother didn't nurture me, didn't love me.
right.
So instead of hating, you should be appreciating them more. In India, there's a concept of an housewife where women, they don't have their careers, they sacrifice everything, take care of the house, cook, take care of their children,
Yep,
and they're not getting appreciated for it. And I think that is where society is losing.
I would
They,
agree.
yeah, women, they believe that working for your family, working for your house, your husband, you're raising your children is is being a slave, is being compared to slave. And
Yep,
working 10 hours at a job, getting scolded by your managers, your boss is empowerment. I mean, where did we get wrong, buddy? Where did this get wrong? I really find it,
right.
you know I really find it like this is
Yeah,
not good. Why there is so much battle between men and women? Why they can't just coexist together? They
I
are
know,
meant to be exist together.
and there's a line in the Bible where God says, "I'll bring enmity between you and the women," and I think we're seeing that now more than ever. A huge, disconnect. These You brought it up on OnlyFans, right? They're making
Yeah.
thousands of dollars a month, tens of thousands of
Thousand buddy,
dollars a month.
millions of dollars.
Yeah, and what's sad is most of these women they're going to regret it later on. They're not going to be happy. They're taking on the role of a man, and it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
And
you know uh, they are most of the people on the women on the OnlyFans are very young, right? So right now their priority is getting money and all that. But as you grow older, I think you have felt that as you grow older your priorities change.
yep,
When you get into 40 or 50s, when you have child, then your priority is not about money and all, it's about your reputation and how your child is being treated.
right,
When you have done shit like this, when you get older, then you're gonna regret it. People are not gonna realize this now, but they will realize it later,
yep.
right? So
And
it's
most
just
of
bad.
these women on here are probably addicted to drugs, right? They're posting themselves out there, and drugs probably make it easier to deal with. They're more confident in themselves, and that could lead to a life
so
of just
doing
destruction, right?
so doing drugs is being confident.
Yeah, I mean, doing certain drugs, you're going to feel confident. I mean,
No, no,
it
I
makes
mean,
things easier depending on what you're taking.
so does women think that doing drugs is gonna make them empowerment, feel empowered?
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I would say a majority of these women that are on OnlyFans doing content, doing videos, they're probably on some form of drug, bro. They probably are. I would
This
not be
drug, i
surprised.
think i think that drug is money.
I think it's both. I think it's both.
It's bad, man. And I think women are less to be blamed. I think men are more to be blamed because they are the ones who are paying them off.
Oh, I agree 100%. It's it's men's fault why we're to this point. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep,
So we should just not blame the men, the women here. It's a men too.
it
This
is.
rest of the,
We should be
I don't
blaming the
know.
men.
Yeah, I don't know why they are so tended towards porn and on this website. They don't go out and build a real relationships.
I
They
know it.
don't. They're not able to do that. They are just spending $5, $10, and just whacking on the photo and just being happy. Oh my god, yeah, I did this. This is not a good thing. You have to realize you need to go out and build a real relationship with someone. Talk
Right.
to her, build a family. Marriage is such a good thing that can happen to anyone. Marriage is really beautiful, and I think in the West, don't get me wrong, in the West, the family concept is getting destroyed.
Yeah, it is
You know,
100%, man.
and
It's
that's
a
happening to India too. You know, in
yep,
India, marriage is such a beautiful thing, right? You get your partner, you spend your life together,
yep. It's a
challenging
covenant.
you.
It's
Yeah.
sacred, right?
Yeah, challenging each other to get better version of yourself, and then having a child, raising them up. I mean, what is life then? It's if it's not this. I mean, if you're Elon Musk, obviously you want to go to Mars, then you're different, I get it, but he also has 10 kids. But I'm telling that you're married, you want kids, and that's the best thing that can happen to your life. I mean,
I agree, man.
I
That
do
should be
I
every man's end goal should be a wife, a family,
Yeah.
kids. I think
Yeah.
that's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate flex.
Yeah,
Okay.
that exactly. Flex is not about being. If you're in a 50s, 60s, the flex is not money. The
No,
flex
it's
is a
not.
family, a loving family.
Yep, and just being at peace, bro.
So the world is really, the world is like against marriage nowadays.
Yep.
Not having kids, they're like, oh no, 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 we don't want kids. We just want to travel the world together. Do this. I think whoever brainwashed them, they are being successful. You gotta say
Yeah,
that.
they have been. They did their job right if that was their intention. And I think it
Yeah,
is. They want to take they don't want men out there thinking for themselves, building their own businesses, speaking their mind. They don't want that. That's very obvious that who's ever sitting up at the top, the round table, the
yeah,
cabal, the Illuminati, whatever you call it, who's ever
yeah,
orchestrating everything, they don't want us men reaching our highest potential. And that should tell you something right there in itself that something's very wrong in our world. And all we can do is speak from our experiences, give our opinions, and just build these communities that are going to uplift men and take them places in life because a lot of men don't have any hope. This generation,
yeah,
I feel like, is cooked if things don't change very fast because like we were talking about earlier, men are getting addicted to things very early on in life. They have access to it and they don't know that these habits are going to lead to uh, just a road of pure destruction if they don't get a grasp on it early in life.
yeah. I mean, that's true, and I sometimes I do feel that, and there is another thing that women really have unrealistic expectations nowadays. To be honest, and I think you
Most of
would
them
agree.
do, yeah.
Yeah, I think you would agree on that. So it's like, you see, successful people ratio is very less. That is the top 1%. Rest of the men are struggling, making less than their needs. And as a woman, if any woman, every woman, even every woman who go out there, they have expectations like, 6 feet tall, six
Yeah,
figures, money and all that shit. I mean, are they even listening to themselves something or not? Like, really?
yeah,
Having expectations is good. Okay, it's good. It's their right. But unrealistic expectations, that is not, that's harmful to you only, you
right.
know. So,
And then,
I mean,
unfortunately, women who think that way, they're never going to find happiness or fulfillment in life. I hope they do, but most of them will not. And that's just the facts.
yeah,
So in the end, you may feel like you're hurting because you're not getting the woman you want in your life, but if you have the right mindset and they don't, then it's not worth your time, bro, and you're not missing out on anything. You're
yeah,
where the party's at, and you should have that
yeah,
mindset at all times, even
yeah,
when you're alone. I'm where the party's at, and I'm getting things done in life. Most of these guys I see, my old friends, I don't talk to him as much because it's just we don't connect like we used to. There's no common end goal. And you can't, if someone's drowning, you're not going to go out, you're going to go and try and save them, but are you going to let them pull you down with them and risk your life? Maybe in
No,
certain
obviously.
situations, yeah, depending on who it is, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it's going to have a negative effect on you. In
You can save the people who want to be saved.
right,
You can't save the people who don't want to be saved.
the old
Simple as
saying,
that.
you can lead a horse to the river, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. But you can make some circumstances where you have to, where the horse goes to the drink. I heard
right?
this from Alex Hormonzi in Chris Williamson podcast. He said, I'm
Good.
gonna I'm gonna give him a lot of salt in horse mouth, so he's gonna drink, he's gonna feel thirsty. That I get it, I get it. I get it what you're
Yeah.
trying to say. Man, it's really tough, for the this some the feminism did had some good impacts, for good. It did have goods, but the
Hmm.
bad things are also happening, and I think nobody's talking about it. They should be talking about it.
Right.
Breaking families, it's really bad. I don't
Hmm.
think anybody deserves that, and the laws are in a certain way that they favor women more than men. Actually, I feel I've seen some cases like that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, marriage is the best thing that can happen to anybody. Getting a girl you love, you really love is the best thing that can happen to anybody. If you don't get it, it's no problem.
I
I mean,
agree, man. I agree.
just just live a life. But if you get love, you should get love. Try for it, go for it.
Hmm.
Why would you want to avoid it just because of in your 20s you got heartbroken by some girlfriends or boyfriends of yours? You think
Right.
that you're gonna marry? No, it's not happening that way. You would lose people eventually. You're gonna meet someone who is there for you, and when you meet them, don't lose them. Just go out, propose her or propose him, get married, have a good life. That's it. I think that's a motivation. I think
Yeah.
that's the ultimate end goal of a life.
Yeah. That's what life is all about. That's the ultimate goal. Like I said, the ultimate flex a man can have is a family.
Yeah, even
And yeah, agreed 100%, man.
even if you're a millionaire in your 60s and 70s, you have everything but you don't have anything.
Hmm.
I feel
That's
that
right.
thing. I think
Yep.
it was a dialogue in Iron Man 1, I think, when Tony Stark said that I have everything but I don't have anything, and he was trapped in a cave with another person, another scientist. He said, I have everything but I have nothing. Like, I
Yep.
have everything, but he had family but he didn't have a lot of money. But Tony had a lot of money but he doesn't have a family, right?
Yep.
His father died, their mother died. I think that's the most important thing. If I get a lot of money, millions of dollars, but if I don't have a family, then what good is that?
Right. It doesn't mean anything.
you know you can lie yourself that, yeah, traveling to world is going to make you feel good, but at the end of the day, when you go back to your hotel or your bed, you realize you don't have anybody who loves you the way you want to be loved.
Yep.
So what's the point of having all the money? Get yourself a family. I've, I think that's ultimate goal, buddy.
Yep. I agree, man. I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of men out here they think oh, just worry about the money. The money's going to bring everything. If you have money, you're going to get whatever you want. It only gets you so far, and money's not going to build a connection with that woman at the end of the day. It's you taking your time, to understand her, treating her right instead of just leading with your pockets. And I feel like a lot of men go wrong that way too, where they lead with their money instead of actually taking the time to get to know this person, even on a spiritual level. And that's where they go wrong. They think their money is the end all be all when it's not. And
Yeah,
that's just how I see things.
if the girl is with you just because if you have money, but when the money is gone, then she is gone. But
Right.
when you have the girl who's for you, and when you don't have anything, and then she's with you, then you have everything, buddy. Then you have everything. Yeah,
Yeah, and you're
I
and if
know.
and if you're leading with your money, you're going to be attracting the wrong girl for yourself because, like you said, she's just going to be there for your money. And then what happens when it dries up? She's gone.
Yeah, a lot of young people, getting inspired from the gurus, online gurus, or the YouTube or the movies. Like, you get a money, you're a millionaire, you can get any girl in the world. I agree
Yeah,
with it. You will get the girl, but you'll not get the love. Or maybe
right.
you will get the love, but you do realize that why she is there with you
Yep, it'll get you
deep
the
down
one
in your
night
heart.
stand, but that'll leave you empty.
Yeah, no, the one night stand doesn't think make thing any good. It just makes more holes in you. I feel that, bro.
Yep,
It's just not good. People, men or boys think that, yeah, sleeping with a lot of girls is gonna make you happy, buddy. It will make you happy for that night only. But when you feel that nobody is emotionally available for you, then you realize you have nobody.
that's right.
Everybody
Yep,
was there for you just for the physical part, but emotionally nobody is available for you. Then you will be real heartbroken. Then you will realize that you're nobody. Nobody
yep,
loves you. Then that's a sad part, in life.
I agree.
And that's why I think so. Why do you think today's men are more depressed?
Um, yeah, I think they're more depressed because, like we were talking about earlier, they have easy access to all these things that aren't good for them. You know, they can go to the gas station, and when they turn 18, they can buy some cigarettes. They can buy chewing tobacco. They can hit up their weed dealer, drug dealer, and they're having that cheap instant gratification, and it's hard to break that cycle. You know, and before you know it, you're going to be depressed if you keep doing these things and you don't have a purpose outside of that. You know, and I do feel like men are depressed also because of feminism, like we talked about earlier. That's a
Yeah,
part of it. You know, they're losing hope. They're not building genuine connections. Heck, it's even tough to find genuine friends. You know, to create a brotherhood, a community that's going to uplift everybody. So that's becoming harder to find as well. And I feel like with the economy right now, things aren't good with the economy. You know,
yeah,
I think I mentioned in one of my videos that I'd be searching for a new job here. Well, I've been searching for the last 2 weeks and there's nothing out there. There is no job market right now. So that's going to take down a lot of people's motivation. And thank God that I've built a nest egg over these last 10 years I've been in the workforce so that even if I lost my job, I'm okay right now. But I think money's a big thing. They're not getting paid the amount of money they'd like to create the life that they want. You know, of course, you got to learn new skills. You got to get better. You got to learn skills to up your value so that you can get paid that amount of money. But it's tough now. It's more about who you know than what you know when it comes to getting some of these jobs.
yeah.
You know, and it becomes an unfair game to play. But that's life. But I feel like it's becoming harder and harder as time goes on for men to have financial success as well, and that's another reason why they're depressed.
Yeah. Do you think men are more depressed compared to the men in their 80s or 90s?
Oh yeah, I would say the older men out there who are in their 80s or 90s, they're probably happier than anyone on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
You know,
that's. Men in the 90s and 80s, they used to buy a home at 25 and 26 years old. And
yeah,
right now, 25, 26 is lots.
yeah. Like my dad, when he was 32 years old, when my parents were still married, he was supporting us. We had a new home, 3 bedroom home. He was making $55,000 a year. Of course, times have changed, inflation and everything like that. So that 55 grand today is probably almost worth 100 grand. But still, man, you were seeing the fruits of your labor. You were going to work, you were getting a paycheck, and you could provide for your family, and then have a little excess amount to spend. Now
Yeah.
we're not seeing that. We're seeing tough times, and it's hard to get ahead. And if you have no work ethic or no goals or ambitions, it's going to be extra tough for you in these times.
One more thing I feel is that it's easy to be ahead nowadays because everybody is lazy and weak. You know,
Yeah, it doesn't take much to separate yourself from the
yeah.
pack.
I think competition is very, I mean, in not terms of population, but in terms of work ethic, competition is very less compared to 80s or 90s. You got guys who are addicted to drugs and social media. And if you're not addicted to that, you can work, you can go ahead, then you are better than them. You are in the top 5%, I feel.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Yep.
it just take too little to be a great nowadays.
Yep. Yeah,
uh,
that's good advice, man. If you wanna, if you're not happy with where you're at right now, it's pretty easy to get ahead. You just go the opposite way of where the herd's going.
yeah, you need, at least you need to have some accountability in yourself. You gotta hold yourself accountable that, yeah, okay, I want to be great. I need to sacrifice this shit. I want to go ahead. I need to work this much. And if I
Yep.
don't do that, if I'm in my comfortable zone, I'm not gonna go ahead in my life. I'm gonna be end up like rest of the people who are depressed and crying about their lives. So you want to be best, then you have to work like best. That's the thing.
Yep.
I think one of the board reason for the men today who are depressed are like, opportunities are there but they don't know how to use it. I
Right.
feel that way.
Yeah. Right. Everyone's pretty much got a cell phone, but
Yeah.
men have become more consumers than they have producers. Right. So if you're just a consumer, you're not. You're just you're giving away your resources, right? You're not
Yeah.
saving them. You're not learning new skills. You're not creating something of value for other people to learn from. It's just, yeah, we become, especially here in the United States, we're all consumers.
Yeah, especially it also depends what kind of content you're consuming, right? If you're consuming some bad shit, your brain is gonna get rot, right? But if you consume some good things, like if we are creating this podcast, if anybody's listening to it, then he's gonna learn, he or she is gonna learn something good about it, about life or something, or whatever we are talking about. So I feel it also depends on like what kind of content you're consuming.
Yep.
And as you said, like, yeah, it's true, consume less, produce more. You have internet, you have the best opportunity in the world right now. You have YouTube, you have, I mean, internet is the best connection to make anyone in the world. Like, I'm sitting in India, you are in United States, and see, we are doing a podcast together.
Yep.
Like, could you have imagined in the 90s that this could be possible? So
Right.
you have
Yeah.
internet, you could have make connection with anybody. So whatever your niche is, go out there, post your stuff, make something. You learn from it. You'll get people like the people you want to meet, like-minded peoples.
Yep.
It's easy to find like-minded people nowadays, but then also it's hard to find like-minded people nowadays because everybody's fake. you know
Exactly.
they do the talk but they don't walk the talk.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. 100%. Yep.
it's tough. So one of the more thing I think the men are depressed is because of lust. So how lust is destroying a man's life and how to control or conquer it.
Yeah, man. So I think it's important that at least one point in time in a man's life that they practice being celibate, holding on to their energy. Just give it 60 days, give it a try. If it doesn't work for you, great, man. But you're going to become a whole new man once you're retaining this energy that God gave you. You're going to start to want to do all the hard work that you didn't want to do before. You're going to have more willpower and you're going to be happier because you're not constantly releasing those cheap dopamine hits, and this energy that God gives us, it's sacred. We can create life with it. Think about that. And
Yeah.
most men go their whole life without retaining their energy. They keep releasing it, and there's no purpose behind releasing the energy. So yeah, man, I would just say see what it does for you. Everyone's got their own perspective on does celibacy work for women or men? Is it placebo or is it real? And after practicing this for 5 years, I can tell you it's real, man. And I'm thankful that God showed me this because you're gaining an advantage that 99% of the men's population are not doing or practicing. So yeah, that would just be my advice. See if it works for you. If it don't, great. If it
So how do
does,
you so how in today's world, you have access to the internet, so you have
yeah,
access to all the bad stuff. You have access to porn, every kind of nudity you want in series, web series, movies. You have nudity everywhere. So
yep,
how in today's world you're gonna control it?
yeah. You just have to. Once you start practicing it, you just develop discipline naturally. So everything hard becomes easier. That would be my response to it, bro. To be completely honest with you, when you understand what this energy does for you, you're not gonna want to give it up. because then you just start back from, then you go back to day one, right? You're just starting over. Your mind is foggy. You don't feel as motivated. So
Yeah.
once you start practicing it, you understand what it does for you. So then it becomes easier for you to overcome those temptations. Those temptations don't become temptations anymore. It's like my relationship with alcohol. I kind of cringe at having a beer. Like I don't want it. It doesn't do anything for me. So once you get to that point, it all gets easier, bro.
Yeah, and it's kind of ironic that before masturbating you feel like you want to do it, but after you do it you are like, oh shit, what I have done,
Yeah,
All
man.
you're all over the regret. And I feel that for the 3 to 5 seconds of pleasure you should not be rotting your brain,
Right.
because porn does have a very wrong effects on your brain. And in today's world you can really see that the porn media has really fucked up every relationship, to be
It
honest. I
has.
feel that way. Everything in series, movies, you see bad stuff happening, man, and it's not good. It's really bad, I mean, yeah, as a boy, I did watch porn. I did some bad stuff. I am not gonna lie about it, because if
Yeah.
I lie, then I'm not holding myself accountable. I was addicted to it. Everybody is addicted to the porn, because when you are passing your puberty, you have high testosterone right now. And then you're like, you find some stuff. Oh my god, you haven't seen in a lot in your whole life, and you see some stuff on internet. You're like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yep.
You find this, then you touch yourself, and you just
Yeah.
rot your brain.
And there's a
You just
reason why
real.
all of this is free, right? And easy to
Yeah, yeah,
access.
yeah. That's the thing. There's a reason that this kind of stuff are free, because they are just gonna rot your brain, make you a slave, and just destroy you.
100%. Yep. Yeah, because if you could think about it, a lot of men's motivation is women, is
Yeah,
is sex, right? It's the best feeling in the world, arguably, and a lot of it is men's motivation, right? To do work, to make money, to create a family. So just think if you can overcome that temptation, you're gonna all these other things in your life. It's gonna become easy. It's gonna be so much easier to defeat those temptations, like not buying cigarettes anymore. You're gonna want to eat better food. You're gonna want to work out more. You're just gonna want better for yourself. So, at the end of the day, it's a win-win to experience what it's like being celibate at one point in your life. Doesn't have to be your whole life. Just see what it does for you. And that's my take on
yeah.
that.
And there is a beautiful saying or quote, I guess, that 99% of your problem will be solved if you can control your tongue, your pants, and there was one more thing I'm forgetting, but it's true.
Yeah.
If you can control your tongue, your mouth, yeah, your tongue, your mouth, and uh, your pants, you can zip your pants. You can really escape the 99% of the problems. I
Yes,
think
sir.
that is great. Yeah,
Yep.
and I think the main reason behind it is a brain. So how would you say that? How our mind is our own enemy?
Yeah. So, I mean, as Christians, we believe that the negative talk is Satan, the devil, right? And he's out to seek, kill, and destroy. He wants you to have no belief in yourself. He wants you to hate yourself. Okay. So, and then in the book Think and Grow Rich, it kind of talks about this as well. Just having that negative person in your head talking to you, and whether you believe it's a devil or not, you can still take that analogy and run with it to better yourself. Because it's very easy to stay in the negative mindset, right?
Yeah,
But what I've come to find out is in order to stay in the positive mindset, it's doing all the right things for yourself in order to stay in that state of mind. Once I start, if I go out and I have 5 beers after this podcast, I'm probably going to go back to that negative mindset. If I
yeah,
go out and I cave and I have a cigarette, even just one cigarette, that's going to lead to worse things because then I'm bargaining with myself like, I already smoked one cigarette. What's one more?
yeah.
So
Soon the one cigarette turns into a whole packet.
yeah, it's a slippery slope. That's why I feel like and you control it. It's your brain. No one knows what's going on in your head but you. You know,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, if you can't control your brain, then, and if your brain controls you, you're fucked.
you are.
Yeah, you're fucked. You can't control your decisions. You can't control your actions. It's really hard, to be honest. Even myself, it's hard to it's hard to control your mind. It's not gonna be easy. You will fail thousands of time. Okay, somebody is telling you that they can control their brain in just 5 or 10 attempts. They're not. They are just bullshitting. You will fail thousands of time before controlling your brain. You will think that,
Exactly.
yeah. If you think that,
Great
oh, I'm
point.
not gonna, yeah.
It's a
When
great
you say
point.
that, if you're not gonna smoke the cigarette, and you tell your brain that, okay, I'm not gonna smoke, but after some minutes your brain's like, fuck it, let's let's just smoke this cigarette. This is a one cigarette. What more wrong could be there, for
Yep.
this? Then you go out and you just smoke, and you're like, oh shit, I lost my battle with my brain. And
Y-
this is the natural process. You will go through this, okay?
Yep.
You have to go through this. You will lose thousand times, and then in the end you will learn that, okay, finally I did it.
Yep.
This is gonna happen.
It's all trial and error. In the Bible, it says if you fall 6 times, you get back up seven. And we like to
Yeah,
always be hard on ourselves. We're our own worst critic. So
yeah,
if you have the desire to want to get better, to want to overcome, eventually you will.
yeah. I mean, it is hard. I mean, if you know, leaving your addiction was easy, then everybody could have done it. It's
Hmm.
hard. That's why it's hard.
Yep.
So you should not just give up after some attempts of leaving your addiction. If you fail 50 times, 100 times, don't worry. Go for the 101 time. You will win at some point. You just
That's
need the
right.
one win. You don't need the thousand failures. You need the one win. And when you
Exactly.
win, and when you win at that one point, you leave your addiction.
Yep.
And I
Keep putting
think,
up shots. Keep shooting the ball. Eventually, it's gonna go
yeah,
in.
I used to shoot. I mean, I had to make like 500 shot counted. I took like 2,000 or 3,000 shots for that day. I remember in the practice, everybody was exhausted.
Yep.
But you eventually you make it in the match. They say that practice. You have to practice like the real game. Practice like uh, so hard, so hard, so hard that you have to play the game like you're playing nothing.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Kobe Bryant said that. Like
Yeah, I
he
remember it.
practiced. He put more time in the gym. He said, one thing he said the other day that I was listening to a couple weeks ago. He worked out 3 times a day in the off season. Three
Yeah,
three different 4 to 5 hour sessions. He said,
yeah,
I think to Byron Scott, he's like, most of these cats in the NBA, they're only working out 1 time a day. So if I work out 2 more times a day than all these people, sooner or later I'm going to be 5 years ahead of
ahead
these
of them.
people because I'm
Yeah,
putting in twice the amount of work
yeah,
than they are each day. So that's going to add up. And we saw how he took off and how he separated himself from the pack.
yeah. He just, and one of the more quote he said that, I try to chase excellence, but I know I won't get excellence. But in meantime, in the process of chasing excellence, I would get ahead of everyone else.
Yep.
He said that, right? And I think that is true. And he was, even as a superstar, when he had millions of dollars, he was still working like that high school kid who
Right.
wanted to be in NBA. He used to, and his work ethic and his mentality is the thing that makes him the goat out there.
Yeah. The craft was more important and more fulfilling to him than the
Yeah.
money he was making. And if you can just have that mindset when you approach your 9 to 5 or your business or whatever you're doing, you're going to succeed in it.
Obviously, man, uh, and that mindset is everybody's lacking. To be honest, if anybody has that mindset, then they can win easily. Not
Yep.
easily, but you have to work hard, of course. There's also a quote saying that a talent is wasted without discipline.
Facts.
Yeah, I love Kobe, man.
Yeah.
I still remember the day he died. I
Me
was sitting
too.
in my room. It was night here. you know I was like, I just received the news via Twitter or Instagram. I remember. Damn. I was just sitting in my room, man. I was like, damn, how did this happen?
Yep.
It was a very sad day, Kobe
Yeah, it didn't
Bryant.
feel real. It
Yeah, he
still
really,
doesn't.
really, man. He was like, what happened? How did he die? Like, he's so, yeah. And the more heartbroke I went when I heard the news that his daughter also died.
I know it.
Gigi, people were telling that she was the one who's gonna revolutionize the WNBA game.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese nowadays, but imagine if Gigi had played,
Oh,
and,
I know it. She would have been
you
good.
know,
Proud.
yeah, I remember a video, in a reporter asked Kobe that you don't gonna have a son or not. Then he told that my daughter goes there and just says that don't worry, I got it. I'm gonna carry his legacy. You see the
Yep.
confidence, you see this, and it's hard, what could have been, but this is life.
Yep.
This is
It
the
is.
life, man. We did lose a goat today, but his teachings are there. You
Facts. Yep. Forever it'll be. As he
Yeah,
left a
thanks
lot
to
of
the
good in the world. So
yeah, thanks to the internet. I still go back listen to his podcast. Um, the good thing about the internet is that yeah, you
yeah.
have the best of the best. See,
Exactly.
you can read people's mind of 2000, 3000 years back, Aristotle, Epictetus, Octavian, all these Roman empires, Marcus Aurelius. You can read their
Yep.
books because of the internet. You have all Roman library, Alexandria library in the internet on your phone. And that's a good point of the internet. But people don't want that. People want some other stuff on the internet, and that
Yep.
is, yeah. So instead of improving themselves, they're destroying themselves. Yeah.
Yep.
So one other thing, as you mentioned earlier, you were dating someone, right? What did you learn from your dating life? If
Yeah.
you're
So
comfortable, you can share it.
yeah, I mean, at that point in time, I really wasn't where I wanted to be. I hadn't overcome addictions, so I wasn't whole yet in order to give myself to somebody. Now it's a whole different story. I've learned so many new things. I've overcome all these obstacles in my life, so I'd be able to put myself out there more and just understanding how to lead a relationship more. You know what I mean? And yeah, so like I was saying, from my dating life at the time, my advice to any man would be get to know yourself before putting yourself out there. If you're going into a relationship with addictions, vices, baggage, make sure that you cleaned out all the cobwebs, you've done the inner work, you really know who you are. And I think you're gonna have a better outcome if you approach it that way than bringing baggage into the relationship.
Yeah.
And you got to be a whole person before you can receive that love from somebody else. You got to love yourself before you can be loved. And that would just be my advice to anyone, thinking about getting into a relationship. Just learn to get to know yourself first.
Yeah. Learn to love yourself first. If you
Yeah.
can't love yourself, then how the hell you gonna love someone else?
Right.
That's true.
Yep.
I'm gonna remember it. Thanks. Like, yeah. You know, for me, dating is like has never been good. Uh, it's hard finding the true one, to be
hmm
honest. As we said, unrealistic expectations. I mean, I do get approached by a lot of girls, but you have to realize that you have to be single at some point, because you can't, as you mentioned earlier, at certain age you have to get into a relationship. If you don't have a stable life, career, or something, you just can't go into a relationship, right?
Right.
Because that's not going to end well. So you have to remember that what is the priorities at that time. You just can't be like careless about all this thing. You can't be chasing love before chasing a stable life, career, or something. Because after, what happens if you're in love, it's okay, great. What happens after you get married? You're not
Right.
able to take care of the bills. Eventually then you will have fights because of this, and then eventually in the end you will get separated. So what's the
Yep.
point?
And most relationships start out great.
Yeah.
Everything's going good. But you have to understand, if you're in it for the long run for marriage, you're going to have bad days too. You're going to get
Yeah,
sick.
and
You're going to get sick of this person sometimes, right? So
yeah.
you got to take all that into consideration.
I mean, yeah, and that's the beauty of a relationship, right? That at some point you love the person, sometimes you hate the person, but you grow through it. It's not you versus her. It's like you and her versus problems, and but people don't communicate through it. The lack of communication is the main reason behind falling relationships.
That's right.
People should communicate more. I feel that way. My brother, my sister and my brother-in-law, their relationship is like they communicate through the problems, and they're really happy. And after seeing them, I feel like, yeah, getting married, getting into a relationship is worth it. They have a beautiful daughter,
Yep.
you know and I
Same,
see
man. I'm
them.
the same. My sister, she's married, and they have two little boys, and she's younger than me, and they make it work. And
Yeah,
it's good to see that. There's a lot of people out there who think, "Oh, I'll never find the right one," it's possible, man. It really is. And seeing that, like you seeing that with your sibling, that success, and it's good to know that, yeah, it is possible, and it's not as hard to obtain than you think. You
yeah.
just got to approach it from the right perspective.
Yeah, the main reason is that you have to talk through the problems. If you don't talk to it, then the slightest problem can create a big things that can turn into a big fights. So you have
Yep,
to communicate through the problems. If you don't do it, then eventually it will end, and it will
yep.
end
You
in a
got to
bad
be
shape.
honest. You got to be
Yeah,
honest.
honesty and accountability is the biggest thing that can work a relationship.
Yep,
You know,
I agree.
it's great. I mean, in the sometimes I do feel lonely, that, yeah, man, I wish there was someone who could, just pick up the call. I have great parents, great family, a great mother who loves me a lot. I have a great father who loves me a lot. So I am getting love from my parents. I'm not gonna lie about it. I have a great family,
Yep,
but it's yeah, the some kind of love that cannot be fulfilled by the parents. You feel that you have because you can't talk your problems, most of the time with the parents because you don't want to see the sad faces, you know
that's right.
so
Yep,
you hide your
that's a good
problems.
point.
You hide your problem. So that arises me the next question, that
Uh,
do you think men should be vulnerable, or as the red pill media says, suck up the pain and fight? Do you think this is the right way of life for the men?
yeah, I feel like men should be vulnerable to people that they trust, whether it's one of their good friends, a sibling. I think there's a time and place for it, but you have to know who's going to be there for you once express how you feel. Because
Yeah,
you're not because you might have a friend where you let them know something, you open up to them, and it backfires on you.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, that.
So you got to read the room again and understand if they're going to be receptive of it or not, and understand. So that's tough, man. That a lot of men don't like to show their emotions, and I think we both understand why.
Yeah,
But I feel like it's important to, because you're going to reach that breaking point where you lose it, you make a dumb decision. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I don't think men are scared of being vulnerable. I think men are scared that what happen if it backfires. I think
yeah,
men are more scared of that,
yep,
because we have seen the cases, when men are vulnerable to their loved ones and they used it in the wrong way. That is what is the biggest nightmare for any man. As a man, we can agree on that. So, I mean,
yep,
yeah, you can see through that perspective, and you can have another perspective where you can see that you don't find anyone trustable. So you just suck up and let's say to yourself, okay, you are a man, you are built for this. You're just gonna fight your way.
yep,
You're lucky if you have some person to you can talk to your problem. I have the best friend, the brother which I talked to you about earlier. I
yep,
have him. I'm the lucky guy here, to be honest. I can share him the problem. If I'm going through shit, I will just share him. He won't judge. He's
right,
that guy. So There are the problems which I cannot talk to anyone, but I can talk to him. Any
Yeah.
problem. He
And you
can talk to
feel
me.
a sense of freedom around him, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like he's not gonna judge me, he
right.
can talk anything about his life to me, and I can talk anything about my life to him. And I think I'm blessed in that thing. Like I don't have any friends. Like it sometimes my whole day just goes without saying any word, but I do have that friend, and I think that is better. It's better to have one best friend or one brother who is loyal to you than having 1,000 friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
uh, I mean you just Yeah, I mean, you just need a one person. You doesn't need a lot of friends because it's hard to maintain even relationship with a lot of friends. Just need a one friend. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think men should be vulnerable with their loved ones. I think it's true because if you're
Yep.
not, then they're not your loved ones. Simple.
I agree. Yeah. 100%.
So you were vulnerable with James
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
and with the girl you were
Yeah. We
dating.
had the same type of relationship you do with your friend. We felt free when we were together, especially out in California. Just no one's here to judge. We're here to get better. We don't care. We don't have a sense of, oh, he's judging me. Right off the bat, we knew that was going to be the case with our friendship. And that, like you said, it's rare to find. And when it's gone, it's gone for a time being in this realm. And my hope is one day to see him again. And that's why,
You will
I
see him,
put my
brother.
faith in Christ first.
You will
And
do same, brother. Don't worry.
yeah,
He's there. He's watching you. I think wherever he is
yeah,
happy and proud, feeling proud by watching you doing good with your life. And I think
appreciate that,
that's
man.
the
That
best
means a
thing,
lot.
man. Yeah, I mean, brother, you really went through a lot of shit. To be honest, you really went through a lot of shit. Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm,
I I myself have been like my mother had to send me away to live with someone else to live with my aunt. For the sake of a better education. So
yeah,
she sacrificed many things. I get it, but you lost your grandmother. You lost your and getting through divorce. I can't imagine that pain. Like I have friends who went through divorce. I mean their parents. So it's hard.
hmm,
So you can't see your mom and dad together. That family connection is very important, and you didn't have that. So I think, brother, you really had tough battles, and you really fought it. Kudos to you, bro.
appreciate that, man. And I a lot of people have it worse than me, and that's another
Yeah,
reason to
there is
keep
always
going.
worse, but everybody has their own struggles, brother.
Yep, that's
you
right.
know, I'm gonna say to you, you're really strong. You will fight your battles. You'll figure it way out, and I think it's better. Dayton,
Appreciate that, brother.
you have been an inspiration to me. After hearing your story, I have learned a lot of things from you. You're 30 years old. I'm 20 years old.
Yep,
There's 10 years difference between us, and I have learned a lot of things. I watch your videos, and it's great. I learn a lot of things from you. I'm not gonna lie. You're a great. You have a great character. You're a great being.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. That means a lot, and thank you for
Yeah.
watching my videos and supporting them. Um, I know you've been commenting for a while, so
Yeah. Yeah. In the middle.
thanks, big dog. I appreciate that.
Yeah. In the middle, you told your health was down. What happened actually?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. What was that?
In one videos you told me that your health was not good in the past. What happened?
Oh, my health.
Yeah.
Oh, on one of my recent videos. Yeah, so I had an aura migraine to where I couldn't see out of my left eye. I thought I was having like a stroke, but it ended
Yeah.
up just being an aura migraine. So it's good it wasn't what I thought it was. But yeah, I used to get migraines as a little kid. When I played basketball, I would get them really bad. And like my hand would get numb, my mouth would get numb. So it's the first time in like 13 years that I had one of those things. So it kind of scared me. But yeah, we're all good now, and it
It's
was just
great,
a
man.
migraine.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any advices for the young people out there and the folks who are watching this podcast?
Yeah. My advice to you would be to always want to learn more, have fun learning new things, and believe in yourself like you believe in God, not saying put yourself above God, but it begins with, believing you can achieve certain things.
Yeah.
So if you have goals, if you have dreams, no matter how big they are or how out of reach they may seem, keep working towards that. Because if you set the bar high, you're going to move the needle forward, at least. No matter how far it is, the needle's going to move in the right direction. And from being a drug addict myself and eventually overcoming that, don't waste your time dabbling in those things. Yeah, you may feel good, it may be fun, but if you want to build and create the life that you want, if you want to reach your highest potential, if you want to have God's favor on your life, you got to give those things up. And that would
Yeah.
be my advice to the youth or whoever's watching this, is that you got to give certain things up in order to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, I mean that's really great advice, and people who follow this advice will really go high in their life, I feel.
Yep.
What advice would you give to a man who is confused, like whether God is real or not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. I would say give him a chance. You have to submit to him though, in a way that may not be easy. In the Bible, it talks about what the flesh desires. We may want to have sex, fornicate with women. We may want to do drugs or whatever, but there's consequences to our actions. And the Bible just came to life to me because I gave it a chance. I don't get me wrong, I had my doubt. But the more that I bought into it, the principle, the better my life got. And I thought that can only be God. That can only be God. And I have had certain situations, synchronicities in my life that really can't be explained because it's happened too often. And I just know it's God assuring me, yeah, I'm watching over you. I am the I am. As long as you keep doing what you're doing and staying on your path and putting me first, things are going to work out for you. And in the end, you'll reap what you are seeking. And for me, that's eternal life. That's to see my friend again. So that's become my purpose, to stay on the narrow path, to put God first, and just to enjoy it. And just try to enjoy each and every day. And once I started kind of doing that, man, life turned around for me. And yeah, man, I'm just thankful and grateful at this point. And each and every day I get to live, it's just icing on the cake. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, you are a true believer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I think I need to do that. I have my doubts,
You're young, man. You're young. So you
I
haven't
will
been,
have.
you haven't learned like I've learned just because of
Yeah, I know.
experience,
Yeah,
but
that's the thing.
you have the right mindset towards everything. And that's going to take you very far in life. So
Thanks,
don't
appreciate that,
forget that.
man. Thank you. I'm trying to figure out many things out. I'm fighting battles uh, through procrastination and all. So yeah, one more question: how to deal with this fucking procrastination?
Yeah,
It's tough. You
it
keep,
is tough.
yeah,
Um, One thing that helps me is being a single guy, getting on retention, being celibate, because it gives me the extra energy and the willpower to do things I don't want to do. Um, you know, then I'm not always having to rely on caffeine, right?
yeah,
So those are just some things I learned about myself. I know everyone's bodies are different, their minds are different, but yeah, for procrastination, being celibate, retaining your energy, that that's gonna help you.
and it's a bad shit. Procrastination. I mean, everybody's smart but lazy, ambitious and lazy, and it's not gonna take anyone far greater in life. It's tough.
Right.
Fighting through procrastination is tough. I'm gonna say that.
It
Even
is.
for
I
me,
struggle with it too, man. I
I'm
struggle with it
struggling
myself.
with it. Yeah, damn, brother. It's really tough. But every day you wake up and you're like, okay, today I'm gonna do this and do this. So I do write journals, So I write the small task like, okay, uh, getting from bed is a task, and I'm gonna celebrate it.
Yep.
Studying this chapter is a task, and I will celebrate it. So Instead of writing like if I'm going to study, so instead of writing that I'm going to complete the whole chapter, I will write that I'm going to complete a small part of it, which I can do. We should
Yeah.
write the practical targets that we can achieve, not like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do all these things on Monday. That's not possible. We
Right.
will eventually not do it. So it's better to write a small part of task and do it and celebrate it. So that's a technique that has helped me, in tackling the procrastination in the best way.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dayton Jane for you. So thanks for coming for the podcast, bro. Sharing your
Hey,
story,
I appreciate you having me, man. It's an honor to be on your podcast. Thank you for your
Oh,
support, and I'll be supporting your channel. And I'm sure
I'll
we'll
be
be
supporting
doing
your channel
another.
too.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
we'll
we'll
do,
be
we'll
doing
do,
another one of these. So I'm looking forward to it.
we'll keep doing it, brother. It was nice talking to you. I felt really great. This is my first podcast. I was really nervous about it. It went great, I think.
Yeah, man, it did, and I'm glad we did it. So,
Yeah, thanks, brother. I really have a good friend in America then.
oh, always, bro. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Thank you.